Yo, what is up, everybody? I am back here, and today we will be reviewing my MLB All-Star ballot for Phase 1. Really excited to do this video, as, I love baseball, and I love, commemorating the players who I think have done best this season. Hey, let's start off first with my American League ballot. At first base, I got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I guess in my explanations, I don't know, I think you guys will see a pattern on like what I value, and why I choose, certain players to be all-stars and why I don't. I don't think my ballot's gonna be, traditional with a lot of other people. There are some guys who it's just like, all right, this guy should definitely be an all-star. And then there are some where it's like, all right, it could go a lot of different ways. But I think for this first one, for the first baseman for the American League, it definitely comes down to one guy, and that is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He has basically 1100 OPS this year, which is insane. 18 bombs, just absolutely raking, hits the ball so hard. I mean, the exit velocity is insane. I think he has a pretty good barrel rate too. So he's just been raking this season. There are some other guys, like Mancini's having a decent year. Let me take a look here. Olson's having a pretty good year too. But I have to take Vlad. Jared Walsh too. Shout out to him. Then at second base, I have the man who I predicted was going to have a big season. I said in my preseason video, shout out to the Blue Jays for signing Marcus Semien. He's a beast. I wanted the Red Sox to get him. They didn't, and they're paying the price. Marcus Semien absolutely raking this season. 294 average, 13 home runs. Just being a uber productive leadoff hitter for the Blue Jays, really carrying this offense. I guess Vlad is sort of doing that. But wow, he's doing great this season. What I meant to say is, really filling the place of George Springer in his production, somewhat keeping the Blue Jays in the playoff hunt in this crazy good American League East division. So he's up to 299 actually after tonight. Almost hitting 300, and has 13 homers, 370 on base percentage. So this man's raking. He's also playing pretty good defense at second base. So Marcus Semien, that's my guy at second. Third base, maybe a little biased here, but I'm taking Devers. Hitting 275, 15 homers, 917 OPS. One of the things I really like about Devers is his barrel rate. I think he leads the league in barrel rate. Exit velocity is just, he hits the ball so hard. And he's just raking this season. So, gotta give it to Devers. The defense has been, I think, like, tolerable. Usually he's not a great third base defenseman. He hasn't been exceptional this year, but been tolerable. So, he's my third baseman. Shortstop, again, might be some bias here, but I'm taking Bogey. As a Red Sox fan, can't really pass him up. Great average this season, hitting like almost 320, 912 OPS, and 10 homers. Like that's really good for Bogarts. And then he's been playing really good defense. Other guys you could consider. Let's take a look here. I considered Correa too. He's having a pretty good season. He just doesn't have as good of an OPS and average as Bogarts. Besides for that, there's no one really that you could like say. No, I'm not gonna say Underwood. Maybe Wendell. Honestly, I really like Joey Wendell. He's just a Swiss Army knife. Really good player all around. I really like Wendell, but he doesn't really have the numbers to compare with those guys. Catching, this one is an obvious one. It's got to be Salvador Perez, 14 homers. Still really good defense for a guy who's aging, and hitting 275. what more can you ask from your catcher? And there's no one that's even close. Maybe Vasquez, but Vasquez only has 3 home runs this season. Now to the outfielders. So I had a really interesting outfield here. So I don't know. I had Trout as one of my all-stars. He hasn't played a lot of games, but Mike Trout, best player in baseball. On base percentage is off the roof this year, like always. I mean, this is Mike Trout stuff. He does this all the time. Obviously he's been hurt for a lot of the season, but also pretty much an 1100 OPS, 8 homers, 333 average. Yeah, and then insane defense. I mean, I don't need to justify why he's an all-star. And then next, I'll give my big pick at the end here. But after that, I had Byron Buxton. Again, I mean, this is I know he's missed some time, but I mean, he's probably like one of the best defensive center fielders in the game, and he's hitting 370 with 9 homers and almost a 1200 OPS. I mean, if you don't take Buxton, I don't know what you're doing. I think he has missed, I don't know how much time he's missed, but great season for him, and he totally deserves it. My third all-star, I was deciding between Judge and Cedric Mullins. Honestly, I still haven't even decided on this, because for me, it's like Cedric Mullins is an incredible center fielder if you've watched him play. He is so fast. He gets to everything. I mean, he's developing into a 5-tool player. I mean, he has 9 home runs. He's hitting really well. He's hitting like 320. What's his average? Cedric Mullins. He's hitting 322, 9 homers, 923 OPS. Very solid stats. And then you have to remember his defense. And that's something that Judge really doesn't have. Judge is not a very good defender. And you can say he has a great arm. Okay, he's not fast. He can't get to balls. He doesn't have a great range. But Judge does have 14 home runs. The interesting thing about comparing Mullins and Judge is Mullins' OPS is 923. Judge's is 938. Yet Judge has 14 homers and Mullins has 9. So it seems that Mullins kind of has more extra base hits, considering that's pretty tight, and Judge has 5 more home runs, which is why I actually had Cedric Mullins as my third, and Judge will make it as a reserve, I'm sure. But this is why I had Cedric Mullins as my third all-star for the American League in the outfield. I mean, defense plus a really good offensive year. What more can I ask for? Again, this is just phase 1, so there are a lot more all-star games in a while, so stuff can change for sure. But anyways, now let's move on to the National League. So National League first base, I had Muncy. Definitely could have went Aguilar here. He's having a pretty good season. For me, with Max Muncy, it is let me check his on-base percentage, because that's really why I have him. I mean, he's hitting 264, but on-base percentage is 424. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible. 424. He gets on base 43% of the time. That's incredible. And then with him, the extra base hits are there. I mean, he has 13 home runs and what's his OPS? 950 OPS. I mean, that for me doesn't really make it close. Maybe you could take Cosmer too. No, not really. Yeah, Aguilar's really the only other choice here. He's had a pretty good year, but it's pretty obvious that Muncy's been significantly better, and I love Max Muncy. I think he's a great player. Second base, I had Frazier from the Pirates. Adam Frazier, man, he's been really clutch for them in the games that they've, in the meager amount of games that they've won. He's really been raking for them. And he plays pretty decent defense. But if you've been watching the Pirates, if you've been watching your quick pitch, this guy comes up clutch for them pretty often. He only has 2 home runs, but he leads all second basemen in OPS. So that's primarily why I'm taking him. He's also just been really clutch for the Pirates. and plays pretty good defense. So that's why I'm taking him. Third base, kind of obvious here. Chris Bryant, 975 OPS, 13 homers. Um, he's really proven to trying to prove it to the Cubs that he deserves that long-term deal. He basically almost got not released, but not re-signed, like what happened to Schwarber this offseason, but they gave him the benefit of the doubt and they gave him one more shot, and he's really doing well this season. So good for him, good for the Cubs. Really interesting dilemma on what will happen to him next year. Shortstop. Okay, so shortstop, all of you guys are gonna think that I have Tatis. I actually do not. One of my friends convinced me otherwise. I don't have Tatis because he has 15 errors. This is subject to change if he keeps raking, keeps hitting home runs. I'll probably switch, but right now I have Trey Turner. He's been really good for the Nats. 10 homers, 845 OPS. It's 200 points less than El Nino, but Trey Turner doesn't have 15 errors. I think he actually has a positive DRS. I just, like the amount of errors Tatis has had, like that just costs your team a lot of runs. And I don't have his DRS on me right now, but I like I don't know. I feel like Turner's the pick right now, and if Tatis improves, then I'll switch to him. But Turner's having a really good season for the Nats, and he's really carrying their offense, and he plays great defense. So that's why I got Trey Turner. So catching is like pretty obvious also. With Buster Posey, he has 10 home runs, which leads all catchers basically in 1,000 OPS. I really want to take Will Smith because he's had a solid year, but he just doesn't have the numbers to compare with Posey. Posey's 333, 10 homers. Like I said, 1,000 OPS. Will Smith 268, 5 homers, 809 OPS. I just can't really do that. And I don't know exactly how Posey's defense has been, but I think it's probably serviceable, I assume. Also, shout out to Omar Narvaez. He's had a great season too, 317, 6 homers. But gotta go Posey here. And then for the outfield, again, this is pretty obvious. Jesse Winker hit 3 home runs today, which is just insane. I mean, he is. Let's take a look at his stats now. Okay, so Winker's 350, 1,075 OPS, and 17 home runs. I don't know if that's updated with the 3 homers that he hit tonight, but incredible, man. Incredible. And also, he's joined by his outfield partner, Nick Castellanos, who has also just been absolutely raking. 1,050 OPS, 359 average, 12 homers. I mean, this is the clinic these guys are putting on is incredible. And it's really keeping the Rays. I mean, it's how the Reds are scoring runs. Because thank God for them. I mean, if Castellanos and Winker weren't producing, I don't know where the Reds would be getting their runs from. So those guys are, I think, consensus all-stars. And then the third guy, I went with Acuna. Started out really hot and is kind of slowed down a little bit, but still hitting bombs, and still being an offensive monster production-wise, and a really good defender too. So that's my all-star ballot for now, and I'll probably update it later. I'm also going to do a contenders and pretenders video, which I'm really excited about, where I'm going to talk about teams that are in first place right now and if they're actually legit or not. So stay tuned for that, and I might have a guest on for that. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and like and subscribe. See ya.